I've been getting some calls lately about a very common theme of people hitting up against an inability to get where they want to go, not just in their lives, but more particularly in their spiritual search. Their search to awaken, their search to know God, their search to know their true nature. And often, since I speak a lot about divine love and the divine plan, people question the fact of how can there be a divine plan that includes failure, that includes a bad feeling, that includes loneliness, that includes not achieving the goal that one wants. And I wanted to talk about that today because it's very, very important. Failure is a part of the divine plan, believe it or not. A lot of us think that the divine plan, a divine message, or even divine love is something, like a movie, great sound effects, beautiful lights, a voice, a presence comes down and says, "You are blessed, I love you, everything is good," and all of a sudden things will change. But that's an ideal. That's an idea in man's mind about what divine is. Divinity is who you are right now in this moment. In this very moment, the impulse that you have, even while you're listening to me right now, the impulse is, what can Ed say to help me feel better? What can Ed say to help me in my spiritual journey? What can I do? What can I learn so that things will get better? This impulse within every thought, within every action of yours, is the true divine plan. Now this takes some getting used to. We need to sit down, be quiet, and sit with this for a while to get the aha. Because when you realize that every thought that you have is to obtain something, is to grow, is to expand. Every thought, every action indeed is meant to go out there to bring you more happiness. Whether it's going out on a date, whether it's meeting people, going to work to make money, going on the internet to watch a movie that will bring you some joy. You stop and think, every thought, every desire is meant to bring more happiness into your life. What could be a better divine plan than that? Now, you may be asking yourself, okay, Ed, but I don't quite see it yet, and that's okay. If you can just sit with it for a moment and say, wow, my natural tendency is for more and more in my life. My natural tendency is to expect love from people. Now, if I don't get it, it doesn't mean that the divine plan has been thrown out the window. It means that there's something else going on that you need to include in this divine plan that God has for you, or your Creator has for you, however you want to describe it. So you're constantly being introduced to deeper, finer levels of what a divine plan is. And you have to let go of the movie version of divine plan, of the Walt Disney version of the divine plan. You have to let go of that and accept and begin to trust. And the trust starts with your realization that deep inside of you, there is a deep love that constantly calls for you to desire, to desire love, to desire money, to desire influence. Whether or not it comes is not important. And that is true because the divine plan is much greater than just going out and accumulating money. But in the initial phases of it, we get to experience, if we can see beneath the surface of this divine plan, that our impulse to go out to obtain happiness, and anything is happiness, wealth, power, money, influence, friends, that's all just a way of getting happiness, feeling safe, feeling whole, which is the purpose of awakening. So, then, when you go out into the world with this desire, and the desire is not fulfilled, there unfolds another part of the divine plan for you. And within that divine plan is divine love. Because in the failure to achieve what you think you need to have in order to obtain that happiness, you will learn something very, very powerful. Now, this is something you may learn rather quickly, depending upon your life's lessons. You may jump onto this at an early age, or like myself, it will take almost a lifetime. I started meditating 50, 60 years ago, and yet my awakening only occurred some years ago. What is the part of failure? What part does failure play in the divine plan? And why does it take so long? And why do you have to fail so many times in order to see what's being shown to you, but we cannot yet grasp it? Well, when I tell you, you're going to say, wow, that seems too simple, Ed. But the truth is, the divine plan starts when we're very young. We learn how to get what we need in order to feel comfortable. Food, love from our parents, later on from our teachers and our friends, then eventually from our wives. But then everything is transitory, is it not? Everything is permanent. People come and go. They love us, then they don't. We have some money, and then it's gone. We have some plans, it works for a while, and then it doesn't. Deep within the failure, what we sense as a failure, is a lesson being learned. How are we getting the point that in the relative world, success, happiness is going to be fleeting? That the desire to have lots of love and lots of money is really an immature, okay, I'll say it. It's an immature, like a child. A child wants something. They don't know why they want it. Then later, as they grow on, they realize what it is that they really want, that it's a building block to get to something else. So what's the building block here? We desire an infinite amount of love, money, power, influence, fun. To learn that we cannot find the divine happiness in the relative, because the relative world has rules. It comes into existence and it goes away. Things come and they go. They come on, they're new, they get old, they break. The body comes in, it's young, then it gets old, and then the body and the mind passes away. But what's left is the spirit. For now, let's say that spirit is your impulse to go out there and find the divine in the world. Your failure to find it, or your failure to hold on to it, is simply the divine plan saying, maybe there's a better way. Maybe you could make a better choice. And that's when the doors begin to unlock and you begin to get the idea that you're not seeking for something where it can't be found. Now that's not to say we do without. We become a monk and go into a cave. Absolutely not. What it just means is that we put our identification and our desire into not the relative world, but the inner world from which we spring forth from. I don't normally like, because I don't have a preference in how I describe my source, my creator. But all great teachers talk about going within. Buddha talked about the Buddha nature within everyone, that it's in everyone. That's what makes it a divine plan. Christ spoke about seek first the kingdom of heaven within and all else will come to you. All else being the everything that is much greater than any worldly good. So, okay, now you go through life, you're in your 20s, maybe your 30s, maybe your 40s, and you're going, this life is not giving me what I really want. I want this happiness. I can't put my finger on it. Then eventually that failure creates a crack in your thinking system where you begin to disbelieve what the world is telling you about how to find true happiness. You begin to see there may be a flaw in that thinking, and maybe it's not correct. And with that, you feel another sense, well then what do I do? And you kind of give up. And when you give up, the mind relaxes. And the spirit is able now, your spirit within you, this all being part of the divine plan, comes up and says, here I am. But it couldn't come up before because our mind is thinking in a one-track mind. Obtain, accumulate, gather, friends, love, money, power, work. And saying this is the only channel that I'm going to receive my ultimate happiness from. Now there's a split in that foundation. And you realize there's something deep within. You follow a mindfulness practice, a meditation practice, a going within practice, a prayer practice where you allow yourself to go within. With that crack in the armor of your mental thinking, of your mental projection outward, your attention goes within. And what do you find? Peace. You find contentment within you. Now you've really turned the tides. And now you're on the fast track to allowing the divine plan to work through you. All those years, no matter how long it took, brought you to this point where you realize, not just as a fact, but as experience, that it's not going to work just going out there and accumulating love, money, friends, influence, and things. They're not going to bring me the lasting happiness, the infinite happiness that's in every desire for more and more and more. That's why when one awakens and the true self awakens within you, you become so full. Because that is the fullness that in the divine plan your spirit was trying to find in the relative world. And now you found it within. And now you're content and full. You're no longer seeking, no longer looking. However, the beautiful part of it is you're still in the world. You still act, you still love, you still go to work, you still need money, you still need to stop at a red light or else you'll get into an accident, but you are not looking for your ultimate happiness in those things. They're just there to play with, to have fun with. This is the fulfillment of the divine plan, where you realize that within you is God, is divine love leading you forth, that all your failures led to your ultimate realization that you are divine, part of a great plan, and that plan includes divine love, which you share generously now because you have an infinite amount of it. And your life becomes a beautiful creation where love is as important as going out and making money and getting a lot of friends. I hope this helps. Take care. Until next time. Again, if you like, leave a message down below and I'll be happy to answer it. Take care.